Hey guys, this is Feeding Frenzy 91 coming at you with another. The E3 is done, so here's the final wrap up of it for me at least. Alright, let's just talk about the pros and cons of every single major console. Let's start with Microsoft. Because Microsoft went first, let's just start with first, go to the last one, which is Nintendo. Alright, now Microsoft's conference was actually really early in the morning, so I didn't catch all of it. But here are the pros and cons of my list. One, plenty of exclusives. They showed plenty. They won't really stop use games, and you can share games with 10 family members. Cons are, however, that publishers can choose to stop these games. It may be region locked. You can only give a game once. Must check in every 24 hours, and the biggest one, $4.99. Now you'll notice the cons was a long list. Why? Because Microsoft is kind of testing us, I think, and I don't know if it'll work. But let's move on to then Sony had the next conference, so let's go on to Sony. Now, Sony came out last, so Sony had what I call the benefit of seeing what everybody else brought out. And you guys really see that in the conference and you see it in the pros and cons. So let's just go with the pros and cons. Now, Sony had a lot of pros. I mean, one of the pros is used games are still the same. There's no always online requirement. You can lend games to your friends, and the biggest pro is $3.99. Now, I could only find two cons, which were will charge to play online because that's a con because Sony didn't do that before. And there weren't many exclusives. Honestly, there were a lot of third party. Now with Sony, I really think they should have shown more exclusives. I thought the Kingdom Hearts was exclusive. Oh, third party. I thought Elder Scrolls was exclusive. Oh, third party. So that was Sony's Achilles heel in a sense. Alright, let's go to Nintendo, the big N. Now Nintendo did not have a conference per se. They had more of a direct, which actually was good because it was pre-recorded. So actually, it may have been better than all those glitchy stuff at the Microsoft and Sony's. Let's go with the pros and cons of the Wii U, basically. Used games still the same. Free online, the only one of the big three that is free online now. Large number of exclusives. Can use external hard drives to full amount, which is I think is overlooked because really, when the Xbox came out, I can't say about the PS3. When the Xbox came out, you could only use a tiny bit of an external hard drive, like 20 gigs, I believe it was. But Nintendo allows you to use, I don't know if it's all, but at least for some, external hard drives, the full amount, which means that they don't have to have a big hard drive, which is why that's not in the cons. But also, you can lend games to anyone. I had to put that because that was in Sony's thing. So I had to put it there too. And it's only $2.99 for the basic. And actually, I saw the deluxe was actually $2.88 for a special at one point, so really cheap. But the con, of course, is not as powerful as the others. And the third-party support is a hit or miss. Either it does get the game, it doesn't. And there's no new IPs. Come on, Nintendo, you got to give us some new IPs, man. There has to be some new IPs. We can't keep. I mean, we love those games, but come on, give us some new IPs with those games. All right. Having said the pros and cons for each console, let's just talk about this for a bit. All right. Microsoft obviously had the most cons, and I'm sorry, Microsoft, but what are you doing? I mean, if it works, then power to you, but right now I don't think it's gonna work. But whatever. Sony, even though it had the most pluses, I think Nintendo and Sony were either tied or Sony had a little more pluses than Nintendo. Sony's actual announcement of it being online play, paying for it, and the fact that Sony didn't have much exclusives were a really big thing for me because Sony to me always used to be the king of exclusives. But then when the PS3 came out, that was the first time I started to notice that Sony was losing exclusives to mostly Xbox 360. So I was like, what? No, what happened to my PS3 exclusives? When Metal Gear went to Xbox, I was like, oh wait, no, how did that happen? How did you guys let that one get away? And then when Kingdom Hearts they announced it's going to Xbox One, I was like, oh my goodness, oh no, you guys cannot do that. I'm like, but such is life. And then Elder Scrolls, which they kind of made it sound was going to be just PC and PS4. Also, they said now it's going to be on Xbox One too. So I'm like, all right, Sony. What exclusive did you show? Well, they showed Knack. Knack wasn't bad. They showed that 1886 game, which wasn't bad, and I think that's an exclusive. I hope it is at least. But other than that, Sony's was more third party than anything really. So to me, that's actually a big minus because if Sony, they're already losing exclusive. I'm not saying that Microsoft never has. They have, right? But I feel like Sony probably, out of the big three, has probably lost the most exclusives. At least first party. And even though Kingdom Hearts wasn't first party, I guess so. Just most exclusives in general. Alright, well, after saying that, let's just go on to Microsoft. Microsoft, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? I'm sorry, Microsoft, but what are you thinking? I'm not saying the Xbox One is bad. I'm saying that all those limitations are going to come back and bite you in the buttocks, okay? That's what I'm saying. Wii U. Get third-party support and you'll be good. Microsoft and Sony, advice to both of you. If you want Wii U to not be successful, keep third-party support away from the system. If Wii U gets third-party, and I mean in a sense that if every single game that is third-party comes to the Wii U as well as the other consoles, I feel as though the Wii U will have itself another console war. Why? Because if Wii U gets third-party games, let's say that the Division, Battlefield 4, even though I know EA is having that whole boycott of Wii U, so Battlefield 4 isn't, but let's just say it was. Let's say they were all coming to the Wii U, right? I would not really have a reason, personally, me, to buy the other consoles. Why? Because most likely Wii U is going to get a price drop when they come out, so most likely Wii U will only be $300. Plus, Wii U gives me free online play. So, to me, why would I buy any of the other two consoles when they have pay for online play if the Wii U gives me free online play? Especially the Xbox. I mean, because the Xbox I hear is even going to be region locked and stuff, so I'm not even sure if I could go to the States to buy a cheaper console. I'm not buying it here. I live in the Bahamas. It would cost me about probably $700 to buy it here. Maybe a little bit less, but around that price. So, yeah. Anyway, so if I had to choose a console to buy based off of what I've seen at E3, I would probably go with Nintendo Wii U. Why? Because the third parties right now, at least for this year, we're not talking about for next year, we're talking about for this year. I'm not counting indie games either, just major games. With Nintendo, they are free to online, and the used game thing, it all works just like it did for the past consoles, which is fine for me. And also, it's just that the other systems haven't, the graphics wise, the other systems aren't that, at least what we've seen at E3, aren't that big a jump in graphics. And the Wii U, it's already announced that like Mario Kart and them, they're going to be 60 frames per second. So, I mean, the big thing was 60 frames per second in the other consoles. If the Wii U is going to be 60 frames per second, I mean, and it's already a step up from the 360 and PS3. So this is just from my personal opinion. If Wii U is able to access good third parties, and this year it is. See, for me, Batman Origins, Assassin's Creed 4, Splinter Cell, and Watch Dogs. Those are the big four games coming out this year, I think, personally. Even though, you know, Wii U is also coming out with some other exclusives like the Mario 3D Land and stuff, but truth be told, I'm more excited about third parties right now. So, since those games are coming out for Wii U, I really don't have a reason to buy the other consoles yet. At least not yet. So, to me, Nintendo just got this, at least for now. Nintendo needs to have stronger third-party support in the future if it's hoping to compete with the other two consoles, I think. The Wii proved us wrong with that. It didn't have much third-party support, and it dominated. But still, I think this time, the Wii U needs third-party support. And I think that if Sony and Microsoft want to be more successful than last time, they need to keep third-party support away from the Wii U. Why? Because if the Wii U, at least at this point, right now, gets third-party support for every single game, I think it will dominate. Why? Because it's the cheapest, you don't pay for online, and the graphic leap is not that big a deal. Not this year. It's not that big of a leap as it was last gen. Anyway, leave your thoughts and comments. Please discuss this with me. I want you guys to, if you can, leave me some articles, maybe prove me wrong, that there's a huge difference in graphics and stuff. So, guys, just leave your comments. And thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and God bless.